Guys, still the all the talk in the state of Michigan is about the Lions' great season slash crashing to reality in the second half. You know, you guys, we were texting a lot during the game,
Right.
and I think the first thing I texted at the end of the game is that we should have taken the points, and I still, in some ways, they should have kicked the field goal the second one.
Yeah, the second one was,
Yeah.
was the one.
But the more I think about the game, you know, the Niners played pretty good in the second half.
They played like how we thought they would
We're
start
gonna
the game.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So, I mean, there is two teams on the field.
Well, and I said the same thing. My son, who doesn't know a ton about football,
Right.
he called me from Wisconsin, and he was like, "Dad, it's going to happen. It's going to happen at halftime." And I said, "Hey, we just scored 24 points in the first half. Guess what? They can score 24 points in the second half." And unfortunately, that was
I had to
about
calm
exactly what
my
they did.
daughter down from Texas as well because, again, she hasn't lived the life as long, 30-some years. But only, you know, I said, just remember, this is a very good team. And I think I text you guys, too. I said, San Fran's going to make a run when they come out. And sure enough, and, you know, a whole mirage of things happened. And that unusual fumble by Gibbs, and then a bounce off the helmet by Vildor. And
Oh, my
I
God.
think you have it mixed up.
Yeah.
Actually, the bounce off the helmet happened,
Right,
and then
yeah,
the
I'm just
fumble.
saying that
And then
the
the
No, but I mean,
totality.
those things,
laundry list.
Yeah.
those things back to back
It's
Yeah.
just like
were
oh,
kill. And you know, as soon as they fumbled, you know, we didn't text it because I don't think anybody wanted to jinx it. But everybody in the state of Michigan goes, "Here it comes."
Here it comes.
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, there was no way to stop it. I mean, we were just you were talking to Tanya about perfect passes and not perfect passes, very uncharacteristic drops. Did you know that the Lions led the league in least amount of drop passes?
I did not know that. No, I knew that they.
Khalif Raymond did not have a drop this year.
Wow.
That's incredible.
I don't remember a lot of big drops.
No, I'm just saying that statistic. They have a stat for everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do.
Analytics.
You know,
stats,
and Goff is traditionally one of the most accurate passers in the league.
Yep.
So the one third down, the two third down drops that they had were perfect passes.
Yeah.
Laporta dropped
Right there.
one right in his freaking hands,
Yep.
and I don't think it was Raymond who dropped the other third down passes.
Reynolds.
Reynolds did.
Raymond was out of the game. Yeah. He
Yeah.
Was on the,
Yeah. But then Reynolds on that fourth down, that was a little tougher pass. He was going down and had to come back a little bit, but still, he usually catches
Well,
that pass.
and Reynolds has been one of the most sure-handed
Yeah.
receivers all season long.
We've
yeah.
counted on him a
Yep.
lot this year. He's made a lot of big catches, no question.
Yeah, there's just so many things, when people defending Campbell, and I'm not disparaging Campbell, but there is a difference between going for it against the Green Bay Packers, on Thanksgiving when you got 4 or 5 more games left to play, and when you're in the fourth quarter of a game that's going to determine whether you go to the Super Bowl or not.
Right.
And that's something he's going to have to learn. It's the same thing, the same problem when he kept going for it in Dallas. Okay, yeah, they screwed us, but you don't go for it at goal in the 8-yard line, the 10-yard line. I mean,
Yeah.
the first
A
penalty, they
2-point
were on the
conversion,
freaking
yeah.
10-yard line.
That was like Tin Cup. He was just
No, it was exactly Tin
He
Cup.
was just going to keep on doing
Yeah.
it. It
No
wouldn't have
matter
mattered if they
what.
backed up to
Yeah.
the 50-yard line. He would have kept going for
Yeah,
2.
screw you guys.
Yeah.
and that's great. I understand that, but you should be a little bit more emotionally stable. I mean, look at the way I run this company. Sometimes you to go like, this guy is not running the company. You can't run it all on emotion. You've got to have. There's got to be an adult in the room.
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
And that's what the head coach is supposed to be. You
And-
can have all your coordinators going, go on.
All the players always want to go for
Yeah,
it.
the
Of course.
right.
Well, I loved it on the 4th and 2. What is that conversation? I'm going to ask both of you. What is the conversation that Dan Campbell is having with the referee over there, where he's measuring out what is that? I mean, it's just going to be 1 yard on the field goal, one way or the other. I did not understand what he was doing, and I think that was the time he actually kicked.
He did.
They were
yeah,
right
that
before
was,
halftime, and
yeah.
he's going like this. He's measuring everything
Well,
out.
I
He's
was-
got calipers out.
I
didn't
mean,
understand
I
what
was on the
going
phone with Joe at that time, and he goes, "They got it. They should go for it." I go, "Joe, absolutely they should go for it if there's more than 8 seconds left, because if you don't get it, you've got them backed up on their own goal line."
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing that people don't take into consideration, Rich, I'm sure you did, what happens when you go ahead and kick that field goal and he doesn't make it?
Yeah.
And then everybody on the planet
Like,
loses
shoot
their
for
mind.
it.
I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
believe you did. What
And
a
they
show
for it all
they
season.
get the ball where you put the ball
Yeah.
down, and so they get excellent field position. And that's what I think part of the whole dynamic of making these decisions is he doesn't have Justin Tucker there as a kicker.
No.
He's got Michael Badgley, who between 45 and 49 yards is about 50 to 60%.
Not a good rate, yeah.
62%.
62%.
Yeah.
So not an automatic for sure.
No, not at all.
And also, our defense, as we know right now on this team, is the weak link. And he thinks offensively that's his best group, and he's going to ride and die with that offensive unit. And we saw it died with
But
that.
you also give them great field position when you don't convert.
Yes,
Either way,
yes.
you don't make the field. It's the same thing. Whether you don't convert the fourth down or you miss the field goal, you're giving these guys the ball at the 37-yard line or whatever.
Right.
And you know, it's tough. I mean, he gets paid to make those decisions. But I'm just saying, I guarantee you, if they're in this spot again next year or a year from now, they're not going to be going for it in the NFC Championship game from all over the place.
No.
They're just not going to do it. I mean, what would Don Shula do? What would, guys that have been there a million times do?
It's going to be interesting to see if other teams, other coaches in the NFL kind of adopt that, go for, kind of balls to the wall type mentality of Dan Campbell. Are there other coaches now coming into the league that are going to be just super aggressive and we're going for it most of the time? Is he a trendsetter or is he just a madman?
Well, we
there?
also
I
have
mean,
to see what his success rate is with it next year. Yes, he did really well with it this year in the regular season. He may not have that kind of luck next year, and
They're
then,
not. Let's face facts. When he got up there and said, "We don't know if you're ever going to get here again," ask Dan Marino. Okay, Marino, Rookie of the Year
Yeah,
in
so
the
good.
Super Bowl, and
I'm going to
never.
be here every year.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Oh, with that arm and that quarterback, you're like,
Don
oh my God,
Shula
you can
is your
see-
coach?
Yeah, you're
Absolutely.
like,
I
I
mean,
can
come
see
on.
that
Mark
for sure.
Duper, Mark Clayton.
Yeah, I mean,
you got all the,
you know-
you got all the guys.
Yeah, so
happen.
nothing is guaranteed. That's why San Francisco, the one thing that's in the back of my mind, why San Francisco is favored in this game is that, you've got a lot of guys on this team that got beat by Kansas City up 10 points in the third quarter. And you know what? That is not hard. That's hard to shake.
Yeah, that's-
I think you saw Warner and Bosa both talking about this. Like Warner said, I don't go a day without thinking about it. Like I told you guys, there is not a day in my life I don't think about that state championship game. I know I keep but you don't. It just never
coulda went
leaves you.
different.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you're like an elephant
It
there. Your memory is forever.
It drives
Yeah.
you the rest of your life,
Yep.
because it's always there,
And
and
you
it
can taste the
inspires
win.
you
Yep.
and motivates you to do great things.
And the Lions
You know,
might
it's-
be in the same place next year because they knew they had a 24-7
They're not gonna-
lead.
but
if
they're-
they get to the NFC Championship, they're going to remember what
With
happened.
the first place schedule,
Yeah, it's good.
their schedule's going to be brutal.
And Green Bay's
And
pretty
we
good.
saw Green Bay's coming up now. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
awesome.
who knows if the Vikings have some talent. I don't know what's going to happen with Cousins there. If not, they're going to have to get a QB.
They're losing to Danielle Hunter.
And the Lions had a lot. They didn't have a lot of injuries.
No, they were pretty fortunate this year.
The last time the Lions made the playoffs was Stafford. When they had all those come from behind wins,
Yeah.
you don't get those the next year. That doesn't happen 2 years in a
tends to
row.
even out,
And look at Goff never went down. There's a couple of offensive linemen here and there, and when the season first started, and Mosley and Johnson are out in the first quarter. You're
Mosley's
like,
a huge loss.
you
Yeah.
don't even know.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really know. I mean,
Two
well,
snaps in, I
I
think.
did see Sutton play, and
Well, Sutton's going. I mean,
yes,
Sutton is
yeah.
not going to be back on this
He's gonna be
football
the-
team. Yeah.
And
Yeah, as long as that contract he signed, he just signed last year, and as
Gardner
long as it's
Johnson's
not
gone.
detrimental, that's
Yeah, Johnson's was a 1-year deal.
a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
And
well,
Sutton's
so was
like,
Mosley. Mosley's
yeah,
1 year.
Mosley's
Yeah.
was Sutton's was like a 3-year deal, I believe.
Is
but
it?
again,
Okay.
I don't know how it was either front loaded or back loaded. It could be that where it's not a big cap hit if you
Yeah,
get rid of him.
Vildor's gone.
Yeah.
I would keep Vildor. I would
too.
sign Vildor. I think
he's a
Vildor
good,
played
like,
well.
Number 3 or something like
You
that.
know, teach him how to catch the ball off his
Off his
face
helmet,
mask.
yeah.
Yeah,
But no, I thought he did a solid job when he came in. When he was I didn't even know who he was initially. I've never heard of this guy.
Where did they sign? It like Major League. Who the hell?
Who are you?
Well, that is going to be one of those plays, NFL films. You're going to watch it 20 years from now and
You're
go,
gonna see
"Yep,
that.
I remember. I rember exactly where I was when that happened." And oh my gosh, just
It's funny when when the plays like that happen. The Lions could have won the game, and then you would forget about that play.
Oh, yeah.
You
all
know,
that
like
stuff.
like when Lamar Jackson caught his own pass.
That
I'm
was
like, this is it. This is going to turn this around for the Ravens,
meant to be.
and it didn't.
it didn't know.
Man, what a
just
stupid,
another-
what a stupid football game. Thank God for John Harbaugh and not running the football. He made Campbell look like a genius. What are they doing? Why did they not run the football?
understand.
Even when they ran it effectively. It's insane.
Gus Moss didn't, after his initial carry, I don't think he got another carry.
He got 3 carries the entire game.
That's ridiculous.
Also, I believe, and you predicted
Dalvin
it,
Cook didn't even play.
They signed a running back
Yeah.
to actually run the ball. And they
He
didn't-
ran the ball 3 times in the game before for 24 yards.
Right.
That's 8 yards a carry.
8 yards of carry.
With a guy with fresh legs. He didn't even play in the game.
It shows you that even great coaches have just like lose their mind at times. A Super Bowl winning coach in John Harbaugh. And
You don't go in at halftime and go to your offensive coordinator and like,
say, dude,
what?
we
run the ball.
Yeah, run the ball.
Well,
Keep Mahomes off the
the
frickin' field.
Have you guys seen that clip of Odell going up to Lamar saying, "Why aren't you taking off, man?"
Oh, no,
why
I
aren't you-"
didn't know.
Yeah,
That
like,
was the other
there's
thing
a
too.
clip,
That people are going like,
it's like-
if he had run with 4 seconds in the pocket instead of waiting 7 seconds in the pocket, there were avenues all
Right.
over the place.
And Odell called. He
And I-
went up to him and said,
That's
why
where
aren't you doing
someone
that? That's our
tends to
identity."
listen to all the noise of I need to be more of a pocket quarterback. I need more of that. No, man, this is winner take all basically to get into the Super Bowl. Use your use whatever means you have.
Jim had to be sitting in the texting his brother. What are you doing?
Run the ball.
Yeah.
Well, I think we in our game we saw a quarterback win a game with his legs.
Well, that's
I mean,
another
that
problem.
was
We
Brock
didn't run the
Purdy.
ball in the second half.
No.
We
Oh,
only
yeah.
ran the ball 5 times in the second half.
And David Montgomery was getting 6 yards of carry.
I know.
Look at that might be a bigger glaring weakness than all the going for it's and everything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The one time they run it on 3rd down with 45 seconds left to go.
Now that was not the time to run it.
And Campbell
and
goes, I
Campbell-
thought we'd get a walk in. Well, good call there,
Yeah,
Coach.
that was completely.
You know what's crazy? I was sitting there right before the snap. I said, "Oh my God, they're going to run it." And I just knew it, and they did. And
Yeah,
we
like
saw
and there's so many micro. Like, how does the tight end step out? That's a touchdown
Oh,
at a minute 10. At a minute 10 with all 3 timeouts. It's a completely different football game.
He hadn't
Yeah.
caught a ball
He had-
all
yeah,
season long.
all season,
I
that's
think
it.
he was surprised.
See, that-
what
yeah.
am I doing?
See,
Right.
Fricker? What was
Yeah.
his name? Ficker or Fritzster or something?
yeah,
like that?
yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
Anthony Fisker.
Fitzner.
Anthony-
Yeah.
Yeah,
See that white line?
that's
Yeah.
out-
Okay,
that's
on
out
the
of bounds.
side. They call that the sideline.
Line.
That's out of bounds, baby.
He hadn't been
that
on the
orange
field all
thing?
year, so it was new to him.
They're like,
That
what?
orange thing is a
What
pylon.
does that mean?
Touchdown!
The
He's,
ball over there?
he's in the end zone.
You're thinking like,
Nobody,
oh,
you're
no.
out at the 2-yard line,
you were-
and,
yeah,
and
you were
we're
out,
not, and you're
way
not
out.
going to the Super Bowl, and you're probably not coming back next year
and you
either.
saw him turn, and you just saw like how slow everything moved. You're like, oh, that lack of athleticism.
One
is not
last
gonna
thing
make
about the game, like if you saw the interviews with everybody from San Francisco, and they asked them, were you surprised that the Lions went for it here and here and here and here? And they said, oh man, we were like,
Go, yeah. You know.
Yeah,
Go for it.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Go for it. You know, it's not like our defense sucks.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, no, I mean, look at Ben Johnson called an amazing football game. Other than why weren't we running it?
In that second
Again,
half.
like there's two outcomes when you run the football, right? The clock moves.
Yep.
Yeah.
The clock moves.
Doesn't
Patrick Mahomes is on the sideline.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey are on
Debo,
the
yeah.
sidelines.
Keep him over there.
And Purdy made those plays with his legs, and it's just like everything went.
And
their
those were
way.
daggers. Those 3
Yeah.
scrambles
Oh,
were daggers.
God.
Absolutely.
Daggers.
I mean, and you're just like, is this guy that fast? Where are our guys? It's
He's
just
a lot more athletic than people ever give him
Yeah,
credit for
it's
because
gonna
he
be-
was moving there. I mean, it was impressive. I mean,
people are going like, yeah, Mahomes is going to dominate Purdy in the quarterback thing. I'm like, maybe.
Well,
Should.
yeah,
Doesn't mean it will.
that's right.
Well, Eisen told that story the other day. He's dropping his 15-year-old off at school, and the 15-year-old said, "Dad, why isn't anybody saying Brock Purdy's the next Tom Brady?" And Rich Eisen said, "Maybe we need to think about that. Like he's
Well,
Mr. Irrelevant. He's
Right.
young. He's going to come up and make the. And if he gets his first Super Bowl ring, got a lot of years left. That's a good team, and they're well coached. I mean, that could be a team that has the next dynasty." But I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, Brock
It
Purdy's,
should be a great Super Bowl. Obviously,
think it
we
will
have
be,
all
yeah.
next week to talk about it,
Right.
and both quality teams. I mean, that's who. Unfortunately, all the people in my football pool, that's who they picked: San
Right.
Francisco and the Chiefs, not the Ravens.
Not the
Cost me
I
$900.
said it right here last week. I have a feeling the Chiefs are. Didn't I?
Yeah.
I had a feeling.
They did. I mean,
Yeah,
should
when
go
the,
with my
when the
feeling.
Ravens just handed it to them.
it's just.
I mean, what did
Well,
Taylor
that's-
did Taylor Swift go into their locker room?
It's hard. It's hard to bet against number 15 over there.
It is.
I mean, it's just the
It's-
guy just
I
continues
mean, the
to impress.
first
Number
drive.
87 too.
Yeah.
You knew,
Yeah.
it was Kelsey more than Mahomes.
Yeah.
11
he
targets,
chose a
11
good time
catches.
to have his
No,
best game.
Wow.
that first down, that third down catch that he made, he looked like the 24-year-old
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey. I mean, it looked like Jumpman,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
on the shirt. And then, Mahomes, great throw, great catch on that touchdown. In like I texted you, actually the Ravens buttoned down defensively in the
Oh,
second half.
yeah, they sure
Kansas
did.
City
Oh, yeah,
had
they
less
did
than
score,
no, they had less than 75 yards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
They did
were
their
shut down.
job. They got the ball back to that
Yeah.
Ravens offense, and
And credit Kansas City's defense for not. I mean, really, you hadn't seen Baltimore play
Jones-
like that all year.
Jones had a really good game.
Oh, he
Yeah.
dominated
Yeah.
the middle of that line.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a man.
And the Ravens are going to have to back up the Brinks truck for Patrick Queen. Man, that is he's a free agent, and that's. I
Well,
think
look
he's
at
the leader, man.
they lost their D coordinator.
Yeah.
And the guy that should have been their D coordinator because he took the Philadelphia job before
Yeah.
McDonald got his job, and now you're like, okay, where? And they lost their the player personnel guy who went out to
Went
San
to
Diego.
San Diego, yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Or LA. Yeah.
As their GM. Yeah. Yep.
So and the Lions got a massive break keeping Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
And AG, Aaron Glenn.
I don't.
Both of them.
We'll see if we get some more weapons for Glenn. I'm not perfectly sold on Aaron Glenn being one of the great defensive coordinators in this league. They did some pretty decent work in a lot of different areas with a substandard personnel.
Right. Well,
So-
that's what. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing as we get better personnel defensively. Then what are we
The
going to be?
development of Branch, the development of
Yeah.
Campbell.
And,
yeah.
we didn't even mention the draft yet.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The scouting combine. I did get the information though. It starts. It's a leap year, the 29th of February this year, and then goes at March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
All right, I'll get you your gift certificate
Okay,
to
all right,
St.
good.
Elmo's.
Yes.
When we return here on Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, we'll be joined by Paul Woods, the color analyst, longtime color analyst for the Red Wings, as they are on our All-Star break. But first, Destination NFL. It's time for Destination NFL. Kevin Klein from Cherry Capital Airport, grinding down to the end of the season. The biggest game of the year, Buffalo heading down to Miami.
They're going head-to-head, and it's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be dramatic. But TVC gets you down there through Punta Gorda. It's a couple hours away,
Right.
but you can get down there for less than $300. It's around $274.
And you get into Hard Rock Stadium, which is maybe the coolest football stadium, at least on the East Coast.
Very true.
And you can get in for $250. So trip down to Miami, see a great football game, maybe spend a day on South Beach.
Flying Allegiant gets you down there nonstop, and then our D.C. connection with the big game that's out there.
The Cowboys playing in Washington. I've got a funny feeling about this game. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to lose or not, but this is going to be a football game.
Well, that's $336,
Yeah.
round trip flight.
And you can get
Delta
into the
35.
stadium for less than $100.
So why not?
Spend a little time in the nation's capital. There's a lot to be said about how cool Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And we just want to announce that, the NFL season is coming to an end, but we've had so much fun doing this that we're going to morph it into Destination NHL. We're going to have some wings trips to put together, and we've got one big trip that we're going to roll out today. TVC getaway to LCA.
We're going to go in, and the first part of the day is with the Red Wings, and then the last part of the day is with the Pistons.
Right,
And
they're
so
both
it's
playing
a
on the
doubleheader.
Yeah, the doubleheader at Little Caesars Arena. So you see the Wings play at noon, the Pistons play at 7. Going to fly out of Traverse City. Kevin's going with you. So you're going to get the first class treatment at the airport. Flying down to DTW, we got a 2 nights hotel stay right downtown, and then you're going to fly out on Sunday.
And head on back.
One lucky winner. We're going to be able to register you through your website or Q100 Michigan's website. Somebody's going to have a blast.
They're going to have a great time. And it'll be a blast for
Yeah.
all of our opportunity for all the listeners to be able to, one, partake in flying down, two, get some great professional sports.
Yeah.
It's to be
If you
part of an amazing season.
Little Caesars Arena, if you haven't been,
Absolutely.
so you're going to get to see it in both of its setups, both professional hockey and professional basketball. If you haven't been there in a little bit, downtown Detroit has really changed.
Downtown Detroit is reviving. It's fun to be down there. The food in Detroit has changed
Fantastic.
significantly. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Everything around the arena is just amazing.
Yep.
And the investments, the cleanliness, the ballparks that are there. I think Detroit, when you start to say, how is it rebuilding? Sports is one
Sports
of the
has been
best
doing it.
anchors to
There's
be able
no
to
doubt
do
about
it.
it.
So very exciting to see that, and looking forward to this opportunity to spend a day at LCA. TVCairport.com.
There you go, Kevin Klein with Destination NFL, soon to be Destination NHL.
It's time to get away to your dream destination. Beat the winter and fly TVC to Sun and Sand. Looking for your spring break getaway? Book today. Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United are getting you where you want to go. Visit TVCairport.com for up-to-the-minute flight schedules.
Listen, do you hear that? That's the sound of wide open spaces at Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air. The sound of laughter coming from the Alpine Tubing Park. The sound of splashing in the pool. The sound of shushing down Shush Mountain. Here we go outside to play. When it's time for you to enjoy the wide open spaces of northern Michigan, Shanty Creek will be there to welcome you with over 275 lodging options, 42 downhill ski and snowboard runs, and plenty of outdoor fun in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
The Traverse City Record Eagle wants your nominations now through February 16th for our 4th annual Women's History Month publication. Our commemorative edition honors women committed to embracing all and who have taken the lead in showing the importance of inclusion, equality, and fairness throughout our region. Nominate a woman, past or present, to be honored and celebrated in this annual Women's History Month publication, to include feature profiles of nominees. Now through February 16th. Nominate at record-eagle.com/NMI-Women.
Laugh till it hurts at the Traverse City Comedy Club. National and regional comedians bringing the laughs every Friday and Saturday. Add in something delicious from their hearty menu, a specialty drink or your favorite brew, and you've got a great change to your old routine. See the season schedule and buy tickets at TraverseCityComedyClub.com or rent the club for your private event for up to 150 people. Traverse City Comedy Club on Garfield Avenue, where Northern Michigan goes for fun. Back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. Don't forget to go to Q100 Michigan or Up North Sports Radio and register for that trip to Little Caesars Arena on February 24th. The Red Wings will be playing at noon and the Pistons at 7. Speaking of the Red Wings, Paul Woods, longtime color analyst for the Red Wings, joining us on the phone. Paul, good morning.
And you forgot on the intro, Jerry, that world-class fisherman, too. You left that part out. That's really important.
You didn't send me your updated resume. What I should
I'll
just
work
tell you
on
is
that.
former captain of the Detroit Red Wings. Did they give
Boy, now
you?
we're really good.
Yeah, that's going back. Paul, did you get did they give you a plaque for that? You know, as being a captain, you know, some kind of recognition. There's got to be like a captain's club or something like that, right?
No, but I know who those guys are, so that's one good thing. But it's just something they really. Well, after all these years, Jerry and stuff, it's really something. Like they've really treated me well for all these years and stuff, and it's really something to be proud of. So yeah, I guess that's
Agreed.
probably the thing that I sort of think about the most.
No doubt about it. Still get to travel with the fellas for so long. I mean, it's like you never really have left, except for you probably have to carry your own bag. You don't have some kids carrying your bags everywhere.
Well, even they're going to do that. When I've been sort of banged up with my hips problems and stuff like that, it's amazing, Jerry. I tell you, they really, it's a well-run organization, and Eisenman's made a real difference, as you know, and stuff. And they're a very competitive team now, and it's just a good feeling down there. And, it's a place now where players from other teams they want to come play here.
A quick question before the guys start asking you theirs. I was very surprised, Paul, the last game against the Senators, that we didn't see a much chippier performance given what happened with Larkin and, the missed call there, and we get suspended. I thought we would see the Wings kind of laying the lumber a little bit more, and we just didn't see it.
No, they have a guy to do it, too, and clean the pasta and stuff like that, but again, Jerry, I just think for them, like, the points are just critical right now. Like, they're not going to waste a game. Like, you remember, like, Pittsburgh missed by a point last year. They got beaten the last day of the regular season by Chicago in Pittsburgh, and that put Florida in, and Florida went to Stanley Cup Finals. So
yeah.
It's just, their mindset right now is just win. They just got to get points. They got to get in the playoffs, and once they get there, and you can sort that stuff out at a different time, but I think sometimes the media makes too much a deal about that. Like, it's part of the game. Like, you're gonna get hit sometimes, and it's not going to be pretty, and you're gonna get hurt. But the most important thing I say is you got to pick the right spot. And I think that wasn't the right spot, because that 1 point we did pick up that moves into a tie with Toronto. So we both have 58 points now. So it was important we came back and got the point.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, Rich here. It's always good to talk to you. And
you too, Rich.
all right. Like you said, Paul, the Wings are sitting here at the All-Star break with 58 points, tied for fourth with Toronto. What are some things that you've liked thus far in this first half or so, or almost three-quarters of the season? And what are some things you'd like them to improve upon going forward?
Well, Rich, in the offseason they added 12 different guys, so this team was built to make the playoffs. It wasn't built to, it's not a rebuild like they keep saying they're getting, and so this team needs to get into the playoffs right now. That's their goal, and that's their mindset. And they're a deep team. So I guess the thing that's the positive to me is we're such a deep organization now. By adding those 12 guys, and we have NHL players in the American Hockey League waiting to go. So every time we have an injury now, we're not bringing up a prospect. We're bringing up a guy who's ready to play. And he can contribute. He can give us a chance to pick up more points. So the depth of organization. In fact, when Patrick Kane comes back, I sort of slot him in on that second line with JT Concord and David Perron. That means Robbie Fabry comes down the fourth line. Robbie Fabry's got 13 goals. Sprong's got 13 goals. Joe Veleno's got 9. That's the highest scoring fourth line in the game of hockey. So right now, our third line with Andrew Kopp and Michael Rasmussen and Christian Fischer, that's now become like a shutdown defensive line. So if the Larkin line can't do it, that line can do it. So we're a really deep organization, and when Chirac comes back in, it's going to be Ali Mata or Judson Hall coming out, and those two guys are NHL players that know how to stop the other team. So we've got 3 goalies. Alex Lyon's been a real. He's turned the season around. Like, I've got him on the most valuable player award for the Red Wings. It's Larkin, Sider, and I've got Alex Lyon. So he's really been a turning point. And what an amazing story to be able to be in the NHL at 31 years of age after never being drafted, and to do all those years and all the disappointments and all the people telling you you're not good enough, to hang in there and to be this good, second in the NHL in save percentage, it's a story for a book.
It's amazing.
Hey, Paul, this is Chad. It's always good to talk to you, and I'm glad you brought up the balance because I don't think. Glad you brought up the balance because I don't think that we've had a team in Detroit like this in a while. I mean, we got 10 guys on the team who are in double figures in goals, and I mean that gives Larkin and DeBrincat a lot more freedom to get out there because there's a lot more threats on the ice than just those two guys. I mean that opens them up for a lot more. Don't you agree?
Well, 100%. And that's the thing. It takes the pressure off those guys. But the other part about it, Chad, is too is that the other guys are involved. See, that's the problem sometimes with teams is that they get so top low with these superstars that the guys in the third and fourth lines and fifth, sixth defensemen, it's almost like they come to work every day, but it doesn't seem to matter. You're only going to play 6, 7, 8 minutes, and that's all. But you've got to get everybody involved. And if you go back to our championship teams, we had tremendous contributions from our third and fourth lines. And in that line again, Draper and Malky or McCarty or Coates or either one of those two guys, like they were very important players on our championship teams.
Do you see any potential moves at the deadline, Paul? I'm looking at a list of from the Athletic of guys that may be on the move. There's some pretty compelling names on this list that you look at it and you think a couple of them would really look good in Red Wing sweaters.
Yeah, I think no, Jerry. My opinion again, and obviously I'm not involved in that conversation, but I think they stand pat. I think what they've got is good enough, and I think they're going to go with it. And there's a real sense of team in this group, and the other thing I like about them too is that there's no selfish guys. There's no one on that team where it's all about them scoring goals, and I'm not. This guy's one of the greatest players of all time, but this is what happens like Alexander Ovechkin now in Washington, like when he's out there for the entire 2 minutes of the power play. Like it's just not right. Like and I know he's a great player, but he's got to go to work and play well. If he's not playing well, his ice time's got to be reduced. Like it's until you do that, you don't get the feeling of team. It's just like it's almost two separate groups: the group that's playing all the time and the group that wants to play more. And that causes a bit of a problem. So they're a well-coached team. But again, they've got great balance. So no, if it was my decision, I'd stick with what they've got because I'm telling you right now, no team can match up against us. Now, Jerry, you know this from your basketball days, and just think about this: is the only sport in the world where, again, when you're playing on the road, the home team has the last line change.
Uh-huh.
So that coach, the home team, can see what the visiting coach is putting on the ice, and then he can match up against them. So, like the other night there, we got our fourth line out there against the Ottawa's fourth line, and I think we scored that goal. But anyway, we had a good shift. The point is, that doesn't happen in other sports. Can you imagine what that would look like in football or basketball if the other team could stop the game? And I guess in basketball you can call timeout and you won't get hurt, but in hockey you can't make that change. So it's really important to have 4 lines and everybody can play against anybody in the opposing team. Then we have a greater chance to win.
Yeah, Paul, on the All-Star break, you don't have to be back to work, till a week from tomorrow on Saturday? What are you going to do over your break?
Fish.
Yeah. Nothing really. I'm going to, I'm making plans for the summer. That's, I got some family issues up here in Canada, so I sort of do that. So that's going to be, but come springtime and summer, actually my son got me a book about, a fishing book about the Asabo River and stuff. The guy that owns the Gate Lodge there wrote a book. I think his name's Greenberg. Josh Greenberg. But anyway, the really interesting book, and stuff. So I'm going to really, I'm going to spend some time up there on the Asabo and the Manistee, and I love that area. And it's just, it's a fishing paradise, and you can fish, anywhere you want, and so many different locations and different things every day. So that'll be my break, I think, once the season comes to an end. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen until
June.
May or June.
Yeah, there you go.
And from what I heard, you're a world-class fisherman, Paul.
Yeah, I heard that
Well,
somewhere
my own
too.
mind. Yeah, that's the thing.
I
That's
heard that
the only thing that really counts.
I know Gabe didn't say it. I know that.
And then
I was going to say something nasty about the media, but I'm at home. I'm going to bite my tongue. I've wisened up my old ear.
And we have the one. Is DeBrincat the only one going to the All-Star game? I believe.
Yeah, he's going, and But, it's like, Larkin deserves to go, and Sider deserves to go. And I want to say something about Sider, too, Like this guy, and again, I've been on this, to me, he's like a top 10 defenseman in the NHL, but I want you, this is really about hockey, too. Just look at the players that are playing in every situation. So they're playing even strength on their line, their defense pairs, they're killing the penalties, they're playing the power play. And this is the part that makes Sider, like, amazingly, but he's our most aggressive player. Like, he leads the team in hits.
Yeah.
So when anything does something the other team, he's the guy that answers the bell. Like, he just does it naturally. Like, this guy is a born leader. But again, point I'm saying, like, you think some of these guys are great players. Like, just give me an example in Ottawa, who just played. Like, Chikrin and Chabot don't kill penalties. So then you start asking the question, well, why aren't they out there? They're two of your better defensemen. Because they're not good enough defensively. And again, they're not involved in any physical play. They don't want to get hurt. They're not blocking shots. Wallman leads the team in block shots. Sider's second. Like, it's like these things, like all these things you do. So when you have this checklist and you go through it, you go, oh my God, that's a good player. And then he leads the team in ice time, like every game. So that, to me, puts him easily in the top 10. And some of those guys in the top, defenseman scoring list, they don't do all that stuff. They just concentrate on the offense.
Well, it's certainly going to help with Patrick Kane returning after the All-Star break. Obviously, Paul, I think everybody has been very surprised at how well he's fit in. What are your thoughts on Kane?
Something, Jerry. I really, because I've had some hip issues, and I just know it's like it's the push off, and stuff that
Sure.
really is different when you've had surgeries and things like that. But the point of it is, it's amazing. Like, he looked like when he was playing in his prime in Chicago. Like, but I'll tell you one thing. This guy here, he's even better than I thought. Like his passing ability is off the charts. Like, it's amazing in the intelligence level. Like, he'll be looking somewhere.
Yeah.
And he has no intention of moving the puck there. He's going somewhere else.
Right.
But he's getting everyone sort of concentrating, leaning that way, and then it goes across to the brinket, and he's got time for that shot then. And it's like the mind games and stuff that they play so quickly at such a high level. And those two have a great, great chemistry together. They play the offside, so he's a left-hand shot. He's on the right side, Kane, and DeBrincat's on the left. And so they're always on their forehand, and it sticks back in the middle of the ice, so it makes life more difficult for the goaltender. But, he is and he's a great teammate, too. That's the other part about him.
Yeah, I've heard that.
You can, when you watch guys and stuff, and you see how they interact with their teammates and stuff, and he's just part of the group, so that was a really good acquisition.
He's got that knack, Paul, of all the great hockey players that sees the play before it happens. He's got so much Sidney Crosby in him. He's certainly not on Gretzky's level, but like Crosby, just he knows where Tanguay is going to be or whatever before the play happens, and he doesn't panic and he doesn't speed up. He's going to play at his pace because he knows where he's going to do with the puck before, like you just said. It's going to go where he wants it, not necessarily where he's got Patrick Mahomes in him, Rich.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
He's world class. I'll give you one more, guys. One more thing I want to say about him, too. This is something I watch him now. This is the worst thing you do. Like, I was more of a defensive player in the NHL and stuff, but if you're a defensive player, the thing you want to do is take away the other teams, especially great players, their time and space. Get on them quickly.
Right.
But what happens when he gets the puck, it's almost like they freeze. Because they know if they lunge towards him, they're worried he's going to make them look foolish and make a great play, and then they're in trouble with the coach and they'll look bad. They're actually helping him out because they give him more time. And the more time you give him, the worse he's going to hurt you.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Paul, and you mentioned it earlier, but credit Steve Yzerman for not only getting the kind of player on the ice that the Wings need, but also the kind of person that is so unselfish, as you mentioned, that's going to fit in perfectly and just play as a consummate teammate.
Well, exactly, and that's part of their whole, my opinion, their mindset again. And JT Compher's another guy. He's just under the radar, goes about his job, but he's won the Stanley Cup, but he's a really good two-way center iceman. Andrew Kopp's a really good two-center iceman. You can play him against anybody in the NHL and feel comfortable about it. So the list goes on. And another couple of guys have really come on. I like this Jake Wallman a lot back on the blue line. That was a great pickup from St. Louis. He's in our top pair. But our two other guys that we drafted, Michael Rasmussen and Joe Veleno, have really improved themselves. And now they're becoming, and Joe Veleno actually gets a little bit of time on the power play now, a little bit of time on penalty killing, centers that fourth line, and he's becoming now an all-around player. And Michael Rasmussen, here's a guy that was a really big offensive star in junior, and people thought he'd be number one center iceman, the power play guy. But this is what the NHL does to you, and you have to be able to adapt and change. He couldn't do that, but now he's become a very, very good third-line player, a penalty killer, and they got him out there in critical situations, and he can take face-offs, he can do things, but he's changed his game to become a valuable asset to the team.
Huge road trip coming up right after the All-Star break that makes me a little nervous, Paul. Heading out to, all the Western Canadian teams. That trip. It's horrible. Going to Calgary and then to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And so, and the other problem that the other problem that I see is the fact that, the Wings have played the most games of all the teams that they are fighting for divisional spots. So they have to keep the pedal to the metal. Like you said when you opened the show, they've got to get points.
Yeah, we can't, like a 4 or 5 game losing streak is going to be catastrophic. I mean, it's like really, you can't do that. But they're not going to. They're a good team. They're tough players. But the thing of it is, like the parity in the NHL, like every team, I'm not kidding, even like the teams like Columbus, and they can beat you if you're not ready to go. These are all professional players. There's only 700 of these guys in the entire world. That's NHL players. These guys are all good players, have been great players somewhere just to get here. So They know how to play, and some of them are pissed off, and they want to show what they can do. But, again, getting back to Edmonton and Vancouver, they're great teams. But I'll tell you something right now. We're a great team, too. Like, we can beat any team in the National Hockey League.
We have.
Now, ever since we locked it down about 12 games ago, and we started this thing about 3 goals or less, they've done that now. I think they've only lost twice in the last 12 games.
Right.
So now they've got the focus. The start of the year, you're on the scoring mode. Just score and score and score and try to outscore the teams. Not anymore. 3 goals or less, and we just keep winning the hockey because we've got good offense. We've got lots of it. So, again, we're going to win. Our power play is off the charts. Like,
yes.
I know the numbers say middle of the pack, 14, 15. No way. The way they move that puck around, those 5 guys, that's high end. That's near the top, easily in the top 5. But we can beat Vancouver. We can beat Edmonton. They're great teams. I'm not disrespecting them. They're good. But I'll tell you one thing. We're deeper, especially against Edmonton. Calgary, we're way better than them as far as top 4 lines and balance. And then Seattle they've had a weird year. I'm not quite sure on them, but Edmonton with 16 in a row, obviously they've got it going, but their 3rd and 4th lines, they're not as good as the lines we've got.
Paul Woods from the Detroit Red Wings radio crew. Thanks for joining us on Friday Faceoff. Say hello to Ken for us. We can't wait to hear you back in action. Enjoy your time off.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, guys. Thank you. Always a pleasure. Always enjoy myself. Hope to see you this summer.
We definitely will do that. We'll see you at least at the marathon, and give your buddy Gabe a call. Maybe you can teach him a little bit about fishing.
Sounds good.
All right. There you go, the great Paul Woods.
Oh, it's always great to talk to Paul. I mean, like you said, JC, not only was he a captain for the Red Wings, longtime radio voice, and
he worked originally with Bruce Martin.
Yeah,
that's how long
he's been.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think
Chase
you were
on with the drive.
I don't think you were alive then, were you?
Bruce Martin, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember.
But it's they obviously love him,
No
and
doubt.
they should. He's endeared himself to that team, and it's a joy.
Yeah, and great to have as a friend of the program. We'll be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff. But we do want to mention what's going on this weekend at Shanty Creek. Lindsay Southwell's out grooming the slopes, getting ready for the White Pine Stampede, the 48th annual cross-country race happening at Shanty Creek and Shush Mountain. Normally, this race traverses from Mansalona to Bel Air, but because of the snow conditions, the mountain crew at Shanty Creek has come up with a fantastic alternate plan for the White Pine Stampede. Shush Mountain is home to the resort's King of the Hill Nordic Track, which traverses the perimeter of Shush Mountain. Basically, it entires the whole mountain. So the race will be 3 loops of this trail totaling about 10K and will include lots of up and downs. So it's a race for those who are comfortable with climbing and descending hills. We are excited to help White Pine have the race this year, as most other Nordic races have been canceled this far into the season. But there's only one place with snow, and that's what we're made of at Shush Mountain. So it gives racers something to look forward to and keeps the winter stroke alive. Race begins tomorrow. Registration taking place at 5:30 and 6:30 a.m., gang. Yeah.
early.
Yeah. No breakfast buffet that early, Rich. And the race starts at 7. You can register the day of the race, so come out early and enjoy it and see you bright and early on the slopes. Of course, the other all the regular downhill runs will be open as well. Back after these on Up North Sports Radio.
Sports on the Michigan News Network.
Jim Harbaugh officially introduced as the next Chargers head coach in the NFL, explaining that he's going to bring the same element of toughness from his former Michigan team back to the league. He was also asked by a Detroit reporter if there's anything U of M could have done to keep him in Ann Arbor.
I have a great love for Michigan. This opportunity and challenge is what I wanted.
Harbaugh exclaimed that Sharon Moore was the only guy for the job, and Michigan chose wisely. As for Moore, he says they're still working to fill their open defensive coordinator spot and expects to have his new staff in place by next week. Several Lions participating in the Pro Bowl skills challenges last night in Orlando. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs played dodgeball, and Sam Laporta tried his hand at the punt return catch challenge. And Detroit Mercy basketball still struggling. They're now 0-23 after a second-half rally fell short against Cleveland State 77-65. Oakland Hoops improved to 9-3 in Horizon League play, beating Robert Morris and Rochester 87-72. Chris Villar, Michigan News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
And no commercials in that program.
Oh, I know.
It's unbelievable. I know. I don't know. How did he get that in? Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio. Talking about the Pat McAfee show. What deal did he do with them that allows no advertising? I mean, 52 minutes of content.
It just goes, and you're like, holy.
And he gets his own advertising, the Verizon
say,
stuff,
there's
and
stuff around.
or Top Golf.
Yeah.
I think
Around
that
the
those are deals cut directly with his company. So.
Hey,
it's just
good
unusual.
gig if you can get it.
Yeah. So your buddy Tom Izzo gets his 700th win.
700th win. I don't know what Juwan Howard has to do to motivate his team. He said, "Hey, he's not going to get 700 against us. He's not going to get a win. We're going to ruin his birthday." Like, I don't know how you can't motivate your team, but he doesn't have the horses this year.
Well, especially in Doug McDonald. McDowell's not
no
on
road
the,
trips for
no
him.
road
He's got to
trips.
stay at home and study.
It's the oddest a suspension kind of adjustment
There's
thing.
got to be more to it than just that. I mean, come on.
It was academics. They probably were going to kick him out of school.
Yeah.
And Howard went, what about this?
Did the plea bargain.
Yeah. He was on his hands and knees. I don't know what's going to happen with Juwan.
I don't either.
You know,
his own strength coach, when they got into that tiff a month or two ago, and it was one of Howard's kids that was involved. That the strength and conditioning coach was getting on the kids for not putting forth enough effort during conditioning and things like that. And Juwan came to the defense of his team, and got on the strength coach in front of everybody. I mean, this was a real potential melee going on. And the strength coach said, there's a reason why this program is he was really cutting down. He goes that we're going downhill and all this stuff. He was real derogatory to what's going on there. So that was not good.
Well, look, something bigger is at work here because when, after the first year with Juwan, that you're going this guy is a recruiter. Well, where are the recruits? Part of it,
Kansas, right?
Part of it is, that's all NIL. And Michigan is, for as big a university as it is, there's no NIL money in this basketball program. I don't know what the hell. This is a program that had so much money underneath it, illegal money, for decades that
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I think it's because Juwan doesn't kiss ass, And, you know, I don't think he allows boosters a lot of access to the program, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I can see,
Right.
okay? And
coaching nowadays is so much more than coaching X's and O's on the floor.
you know, and
gotta
but
be
you
a
only need
fundraiser.
2 really good players.
Yeah,
You only need 2 really good players.
but you need that alumni base. You need NIL money nowadays. Coaching in college nowadays, what? Wow.
Yeah, that's why.
You saw the Boston College coach decide head coach for Boston College football team took a coordinator position in the NFL.
I'm sure it pays more.
I'm sure it does, but also
What do you think the Boston College head coach position pays? Maybe $1 million.
Maybe.
He said, though, he goes, most of my time as a head coach was spent fundraising and doing things like that. And so that's what it's, come to.
Going to dinners.
So, yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you were watching McAfee's show yesterday, they had Sharon Moore on in the car. This is the 3rd time I've seen this. They had the new coach from Alabama in the car. They're on the recruiting trail, and the car's moving, and he's, and they're like, I got to get McAfee, and this is a better recruiting tool than, the 3 guys I'm going to see in North Carolina.
That is true.
That's why Saban was coming on that show.
Yeah. And Colin Cowherd says that it's so much harder to be a coach at the NC2A level than it is in the NFL right now.
Now it is.
Now it is, exactly. It's totally flipped.
Well, free agency works a lot better.
Exactly.
At least there's some parameters.
So I'm hoping.
He sign a contract.
Yes.
I'm hoping and praying that Saban actually steps into this role to take on it. Yeah, we talked about that. I don't know if that's just pie in the sky. I haven't even heard anybody else mention.
He would be the guy.
He's the guy.
Absolutely.
If you ask
to
me,
be
he's the
czar
guy.
of the football.
But very quickly, Scott Van Pelt talked about the NIL, and there's no way that this will continue.
It can't be sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Because how many of your boosters have really unlimited money?
Right.
I mean, Stanford should be the kings of the NIL, right? With all
the
that
tech money,
and and all the guys that
Medical,
but it's not. That's not working out because those guys are super smart.
Right.
What do I get out of this? I mean, if the guy's running around with my company's name on the back of the jersey,
Wait, I'm going to pay for guys that were beating me up all my life.
No, it's not even that. And then you pay for these guys. They don't pan out.
Right.
Free agency is free agency for a reason, right? It ain't free.
Yeah.
No.
So, like Van Pelt's looking down the road, like there's going to be like 10 schools that'll be able to do this, and everything else has got to go backwards. And it's just, hey, you can't begrudge people that get paid. I do not begrudge Dickinson for leaving Michigan
No, I don't
for
either.
$1.5 million more dollars.
He said, yes.
Okay, I mean, he even said it. I love Michigan. I love Coach. But I mean, money's money, and he's not going to the NBA.
No,
So I
He's
mean,
gonna
you
spend
know,
his
I
time
can make
in
this
Europe,
money.
most
Yeah,
likely.
now.
He'll be in Europe. That's right. So, when we return here on Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, we are contractually obligated to discuss the Pistons and then right into high school sports.
They've been competitive.
All brought to us by they're playing better. Brought to us here on Up North Sports Radio by Cherry Capital Airport TVC.
Listen, do you hear that? That's the sound of wide open spaces at Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air. The sound of laughter coming from the Alpine Tubing Park. The sound of splashing in the pool. The sound of shushing down Shush Mountain. Here we go outside to play. When it's time for you to enjoy the wide open spaces of northern Michigan, Shanty Creek will be there to welcome you with over 275 lodging options, 42 downhill ski and snowboard runs, and plenty of outdoor fun in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
It's time to get away to your dream destination. Beat the winter and fly TVC to Sun and Sand. Looking for your spring break getaway? Book today. Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United are getting you where you want to go. Visit tvcairport.com for up-to-the-minute flight schedules.
You don't want to miss the Chronicles of Cuteness Precious Beginnings Gallery from the Traverse City Record Eagle. And we need your vote for the cutest baby. Vote for your favorite cute baby now through noon, February 8th. But be warned, they're all adorable. The 2 cutest baby contest winners will be announced in the Sunday edition of the Traverse City Record Eagle and on the Record Eagle page on Facebook, February 25th. Vote now at record-eagle.com/Chronicles of Cuteness.
We played for the thrill, that rush you feel with the game on the line. I'm Herman Moore, Lions All-Pro wide receiver. Now, with Eagle Casino and Sports, the new sportsbook app from Soaring Eagle, anywhere I'm at, I'm still in the game.
Sign up now and get up to $1,000. That's right, up to $1,000 for a risk-free bet on your next favorite underdog, parlay, or prop.
Eagle Casino and Sports. Made in Michigan, made for Michigan.
Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
At Munson, our commitment is our promise.
The promise we make to our communities.
It's why we show up.
In the hard times and the beautiful ones.
It's why we trek through storms.
And probably know you by name.
For over 100 years, we have been committed to care.
Committed to strong bones and healthy starts.
To helping hands and healing hearts.
We're committed to Northern Michigan.
And committed to you.
Learn more at munsonhealthcare.org/commitment.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport TVC. Jerry Coyne, Chad Patterson, and Rich Calkins in studio. And, you know, as we were talking off air, guys, the Pistons are playing a little better. I put some of that to the fact that the team is healthy right now.
Yeah.
This is the first time all year that they've had every single guy available on the roster. Monte Morris is a nice little addition to this team. Gallinari played really good the other night. I don't know what they're going to do with him. You know, Dino Gallinari a couple of years ago was a pretty good player in this league. He is 36, though. I mean, the move was made to open up cap room for the Pistons, what they're going to do next year. But who's coming to Detroit as a free agent?
Exactly.
That's going to save this squad.
When you were just talking about all the turnover in the front office.
And is our GM going to get another turn at
No.
Yeah, see, exactly. The trade deadline's coming up in, what, a week or so? Are you going to allow him to go through this upcoming trade deadline?
I don't know.
There's some question. He's always acquiring pieces, but not the right pieces for what the Pistons
Who's
need.
the president that used to be the biggest agent in the league? Is the president of basketball operations for the Pistons. I can't remember his name now. But he's the one that's going to have to right the ship here. Because, I mean, the pieces don't fit.
No, they don't.
No, not at all.
They always seem to like good individual pieces, but they aren't fitting in the puzzle. Is it not Arn Tellem? Is it?
It is Arn Tellem.
It is,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, tell him, you know, I know he's a little removed from it, but at one point in time he was the biggest agent in basketball.
Huge agent. Yeah.
And I don't know who you go get. You know, Rob Pelinka is in L.A.
And at one
And he
point
likes
they
it
wanted
there.
to run him out of town.
You think?
Yeah.
I think Rob's doing just fine.
He's doing just fine.
So.
Yes.
I think so.
He's doing just fine. I don't know who you go get either, but it's got to be somebody that can really find people to fit Monty's system. And, you know, like you said, it's a puzzle. You know, I mean, we're used to having full, complete teams. Our championship teams, everybody fit their role, you know, whether it was the 04 team or it was the Bad Boys. Everybody fit their role, and they were teams. Mm-hmm. You know, there wasn't just 1-2 guys. They were solid
when you got
teams.
Rasheed Wallace buying in and all of that, I mean, he was getting his, but also he was a piece of that puzzle, man, and he could hoop.
And he bought in. And
yeah,
that was
he did.
What,
That's
and
exactly
that was what
right.
was important. You were just talking about Cade Cunningham off air. We were saying, hey, could he get traded? I mean, how long are we going to go with Cade before, you know, we got to get something out of him?
We
you
do.
know? We got to get value.
We do have to get value, exactly. Because, again, still, he turns the ball over at a high rate. And it just, I thought for sure that would continue to go down, his turnover rate. And maybe it is down overall. But, again, I gave the example of listening to a game on the way home from Traverse City the other night, and he had like 6 turnovers, his first game back from an injury. Now, part of that could be it's out of the flow, the conditioning thing and all that. But, man, you know, you have that many turnovers in a game.
That should go away after a quarter. You've been
should.
playing this game since
Exactly.
you were 6,
Yeah.
or whatever. You got to let that go. Yes, you average 22.7 points a game, but we know his talent is better than that, and especially and I think Jerry talked about this. A couple weeks ago, he's kind of playing out of position, right? I mean, he's not really. They don't really have him
point guard,
or point forward.
Yeah,
I mean,
should
whatever.
be a point, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
but some of these guys like Score Thompson is not getting developed,
right?
And
solid defender, but offensively, so his 3-point percentage is horrible.
He's going to have to learn. I mean, I'm sure they draft him as a potential 3-and-D guy,
right?
Which like those two guys. Who's it? Pascal Siakam and who's the and A.G. Obanome. Look at now he's the ultimate 3-and-D guy, right?
Right.
Look what he's done to the Knicks.
Yes.
I mean,
And
look out for the frickin' Knicks, man.
It's Siakam's.
I would love to see the Knicks.
I would love to
go to the NBA Finals.
Absolutely.
That would be the greatest thing on the planet. I mean,
it would be good for basketball.
The first team I ever fell in love with was the 1970 Knicks. The team with Willis Reed and Dave DeBusschere.
Willis Reed, yeah. And of course DeBusschere,
I don't know if he's ever going to develop a shot. I mean, he's a kid, and he might.
Right.
But some people just can't shoot the ball. Dennis Rodman, was a great 3-and-D guy, but he didn't have to shoot the 3.
No, he did, right. Yeah.
When he did, we all held our breath.
I'm going to D. Yeah.
And he made a couple
he was a D and re.
Yeah, exactly.
Rebound. And that's fine if you have a lot of offense, but the Pistons don't have a lot of offense.
They don't. No. They do not.
I mean, the curse of Stan Van Gundy. Yeah.
What's that?
Who's the guy that they took from Duke, who's out of the league now instead of taking Derek Mitchell? He plays for the Clippers, and he's like the 9th guy on the bench now. And ever since then, we don't have any shooting. I mean, Bogdanovich is the only guy that can consistently hit a 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this team is going.
And he's up there. What is he? 33 or something.
But I'm looking at the list of guys in the draft this past year, and there's none of them are really. Anthony Black is shooting the ball okay for Orlando. Brandon Miller's okay, but there wasn't any type of super scorers in this draft, and the draft that's coming up this time doesn't really have it either. So
and you need that guy. You need that guy that can go in and light it up for 29, 30 points.
It's depressing.
A night. So
I like the Pistons. It's depressing.
It is. It is depressing.
It is. We've got. It appears, at least right now, one half of the tenants at the Pizzerina there as doing their job. Obviously, with the Red Wings doing a great job. We got to get that other half of the tenant there, the Pistons, to start rolling, man, because again, I really thought with the full Monty coming in as a coach I wasn't expecting miracles, but I expected like improvement on what we had seen.
Well, we talked about this off air. It does look like they're starting to buy into that system, though.
It does look
taking
like
a
little longer than we were hoping.
They're starting to play more competitive. Big win over OKC.
The Suns only won 13 games,
right?
So you've got to get your players in there. The Pistons had the opportunity to get Devin Booker.
Yeah, I know. That's another one. Could we?
Stan, turn that deal down.
Yeah, could we use that? We could use Devin Booker right about now, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Chad. You are welcome. It's time for the Fick & Sons High School Sportscape Show. Fick & Sons proudly supports all Northern Michigan student athletes. For all your propane needs, contact Fick & Sons. Local, competitive, reliable. Visit fickandsons.com. We're joined now by James Cook from the Traverse City Record Eagle Sports Department. Good morning, James. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. How busy have you been this week?
Oh, pretty busy. I mean, it was at the Glen Lake Frankfurt boys basketball game last night, Benzie Central Wrestling the night before that, doing the podcast the night before that. So it's been a little busy. Heading to Cadillac tonight, which so I'll see you guys there.
Yeah,
the battle for first place, baby.
I'm just, I've had to do a Hoops and Scoops sports show every day of the week. I don't ever remember playing basketball on a Wednesday in my entire life.
Yeah, it's gotten to be like an everyday
thing
now in the winter, just in part because of the lack of referees. It's
right.
harder to get the referees and play all the games on the same days like they used to. If you look at the schedule tonight, it's not that crazy for a Friday.
No,
it's not.
I think it was busier yesterday.
Yeah.
I think than tonight.
I agree with you.
Now, James, real quick, were you a little bit surprised at that Glen Lake Frankfurt game? It appears by the final score that Glen Lake handled them pretty easily.
Yeah, they did. Their defense was really good in that game. They came out and established the tempo right away. Frankfurt didn't want to play fast. Really, they were trying to play at a really slow, deliberate pace on offense, and Glen Lake's defense kind of forced the tempo to be more what they wanted to, and took away their primary weapons. Carter Kirby didn't have a field goal in the game, so that's a way different normal than you get from Frankfurt normally. So. Emerson Farmer got a couple threes and ended up with 10. But aside from that, they didn't have anybody with over 6.
Right, yeah. And for those wondering, Glen Lake beat Frankfurt 57-30 last night. And again, that was a game in Frankfurt, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, it was in Frankfurt. And the Glen Lake kids that were there at the game were chanting. At one point, they got ahead by 30 in the fourth quarter and started chanting down by 30.
Wow, that's brutal. That's
in your home court.
Yeah, that's
in your home court. The Glen Lake coach Jason Bradford walked over to the student section and was just like, "Be nice."
Well, I guess if you made the trip, you can do whatever you want. Right. I paid my $5. I'm gonna say whatever I want.
Yeah, well, and Frankfurt had like normal schools do. They'll put up banners, encouraging their team and encouraging them to beat the other team and everything. So Frankfurt had some banners like that. After the game, one of the Glen Lake players came up to Jason Bradford and he's like, "Hey, can I take one of those banners?" he's like, "No, it's somebody else's property."
Oh man!
At least I'll sign it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, I autographed sign.
Like the tennis guys.
Yeah.
They go ahead and sign the camera before I get off the floor.
Yeah. Now.
And then he goes. "There's the superintendent. Why do you ask him?"
Yeah. There you go. Move it all the way up to the top. Hey, also in the Big North, James, Petoskey travels to TC Central. What's the latest on Anthony Reibel?
I haven't heard any newer updates as far as his status. They were hoping, last week they were hoping to get him back this week. So
they better get him back. Cass Tech is traveling up here. That is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he's back by next Saturday.
Yeah, that is going to be brutal.
Yes.
And in some case we'll have Traverse City a little bit to its own a little bit more after the Vasa races were canceled yesterday. So
yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So we hope and pray that Anthony is he's a really good basketball player.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, it's such a bummer to see his senior year. Also, the final game in the Big North with only 16, Alpena at Gaylord. The last time I saw Gaylord play at Gaylord about 10 days ago, Mr. Gilo went off in a big way, and he really impressed me with his outside shooting in that game, as he was just hitting contested 3 after contested 3 that kept Gaylord alive in that game before West pulled away at the end.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the premier scorers in the Big North Conference, that's for sure. And Gaylord can use that win there in the conference. You've got Gaylord St. Mary also hosting Mansalona.
That's a big game.
It is.
Valley.
Yeah, that is a big game. We'll see if some home cooking can derail a very, very good Mansalona basketball team. I'm glad to see it. It's really
It is. It's cool to see the Ironmen play good basketball. No, it's awesome.
They're not known for their basketball.
No, it's not. No, they've had traditionally good. Go back a ways.
Yeah.
They've had good football programs.
Oh, yeah.
But it's good to see them playing well on the hardwood.
Yeah. It doesn't help or doesn't hurt when you have a 6'5" foreign exchange student from Macedonia
Right.
move into the district.
Macedonia, I thought he was Polish. Or no, who's got the Polish kid that?
I don't know.
I think Chad thought he was Polish.
Okay. No, that's good to get the coaches involved with the exchange.
I think Macedonian's better. I think that's kind of like in the Yokish field.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Macedonia to Mansalona.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Maybe he'll get his own statue before he graduates out of there. A real good, where is it? Shoot. Beale City's playing Manton. That's a pretty big game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. You've got McBain going to Northern Michigan Christian too in girls basketball, which is a big rivalry game there in the Highland Conference. And you've got Brethren hosting Pentwater. Brethren is a team. I was kind of going to talk about them last week and never really got around to it, I think. But they've been doing really well this season. And then they had Manistee Catholic's best player transferred to Brethren.
Oh.
They get another good player here for the second semester, and so I think Brethren's a team in Division IV really to look out for with that addition of Grace Kidd from Manistee Catholic.
Right. Now, James, we've seen enough basketball games, all of that throughout the North. You've seen many different teams. Right now, who would you say is the best team that you have seen in this North Central Michigan area?
As far as who can probably make the biggest run?
Yeah, in their division. Yeah.
That I've seen, there's a few teams I haven't seen. Like I haven't been able to go watch McBain yet. I'm hoping to be able to catch them at the showcase next week. But McBain's one of those teams, I think, but I haven't seen them in person yet. Glen Lake last night was really impressive, so I think they would be one of those teams. I'm seeing Cadillac tonight for the first time, so. I think they can be one of those teams as well.
Benzie Central.
Playing really
well. Yeah, have you seen those guys play yet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a couple times. They are really good. Fun to watch, too.
Yeah,
we had a couple of kids from their team on the podcast this week, Jackson Childers and Miles Pritchett. And, they're just a fun team to watch. It's kind of like watching street ball. Like, they're not calling plays and diagramming up plays. They're just playing football.
Run the play. What is the play?
Maybe they do have plays. You don't, not necessarily. Yeah. Okay, there is organized confusion.
There absolutely,
and some coaches can teach it.
Well, at times, Rich Moffitt from Grayling, the former coach that was here for 25 years, he would tell us. He said, if it looks like chaos out on the floor, it's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
And so, that's a brand that can be successful.
The super dangerous teams are the teams that can play like that, and then when they absolutely have to, they can get into a set.
Mm-hmm.
And in high school, it doesn't happen very often. You see it in college a lot. But, hey, if you can play and be successul playing chaotic basketball, just bring the chaos because...
Right. Yeah.
Most teams aren't.
A lot of it's
aren't
what
designed
they
that way.
learn in AAU.
Yeah.
If you go to those gyms and see the brand of play, they're not playing a lot of set offense and things like that. It is may the best athletes win, and you go up and down the court, and that's just transferred over now to the high school.
PSL baby.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some pretty big girls games. I know the. Traverse City St. Francis gals are having a tough season.
They are, absolutely. We've talked to a couple. I think they're really young.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those years where it's not going to be a traditional St. Francis team.
But Grayling's playing
they're very good, but they play very good defense.
Yeah, Grayling's playing Harbor Springs. Grayling girls got a good thing going on this year.
They do. Yeah, the Roscommon girls just south of us here, they have a nice season going as well. Of course, Lake City is probably one of the better girls programs here in the north with the Bisball girls. They continue to play very well, James.
Yeah, both of them are doing very well, and Grayling as well. I mean, Michaela Watkins is doing really well for Grayling this season. She's averaging a double on the season, and almost averaging a triple-double at 8 steals a game.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
So she's doing really, really well. Lake City is, they're just a matchup nightmare for pretty much anybody. I mean,
I don't see them in action tonight.
When you have a 6'4" center in girls basketball and then a 6'2" point guard, basically.
Wow.
She's
Magic
Mackenzie
Johnson.
Can play anywhere
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
field, so running around the court, so she can play. She can guard your point guard. She can guard your center. Mackenzie's averaging over 20 points a game this year. Allie's averaging a double-double. And they both have good assist numbers too. They're both good passers. Allie's a good passer out of the post, and Mackenzie's a good ball handler. And then they throw in Allie, averaging over 4 blocks a game in girls basketball.
Yeah. No, the Grayling girls have won 3 out of their last 4 games. Their only blip on the radar there was a 11-point loss to Charlevoix up in Charlevoix.
Yeah.
They just beat East Jordan by 12. They beat Boyne City. I mean, they're having a nice season.
Anything else on your radar, James, before we let you go?
Well, we've got the Peppy Town Slalom, the high school ski meet that they have every year here right in Traverse City at Hickory Hills. And they just do the slalom. They don't do giant slalom, and it's just the Traverse City schools. So it's Traverse City Central, Traverse City West, and then the Great North Alpine Co-op that has St. Francis and several other schools in it. And so that's an interesting event every year. It was canceled earlier this season because of lack of snow, and
of course.
they're hoping to get it in tonight. Hoping to have enough snow to get it in. But they also have the Bay Reps girls hockey team is playing a game tonight, hosting Sacred Heart. So you've got other things. If basketball is not your cup of tea, you've got other things to do. Several of the other teams, the boys hockey teams, are playing down in the NIHL Showcase this weekend. Traverse City Central and the Bay Reps.
Yeah, no, I got to see that Bay Reps girls team. I'm so excited to hear that they finally have an organized non-travel team, and that program is just going to get bigger and bigger. James Cook.
I think it'll take off for sure.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on Friday Faceoff. We look forward to see your reporting tomorrow when we reference it during the Bill Marsh High School Automotive Scoreboard Show.
Yep. Thanks, James.
Sounds good. I'll run into you in Cadillac.
Yep, I'll see you down there.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. That's going to do it for the Fick & Sons High School Sportscape Show. Fick & Sons is your local competitive and reliable propane provider, but there's so much more than just propane. They also provide home heating fuel. For residential and commercial customers, Charlie's Country Corner right off 4 Mile Road on I-75 outside of Grayling. That includes an Arby's, a convenience store, the Super 8 by Wyndham, and a full-service diesel garage in Roscommon. They have the Sunny Spot Fuel and Convenience Store in Bear Lakes. Just outside of Kalkaska, they have the Marathon there that includes the best pizza around. In Whittemore is the Crossroads Citgo, offering gas to include diesel and racing fuel, snacks, drinks, and an excellent deli. Fick & Sons expanding their services throughout northern Michigan. Check out everything they have to offer by going to fickandsons.com. Rich, you've got the big Cadillac game.
We do, exactly. Big game for the battle for first place in conference play here. West is sitting at 5-1. Of course, Cadillac at 6-0. And our one loss, of course, was to Cadillac. They really blitzed us in the first quarter. End of one, they were up 16-3. And then it was just too much against that team to come back from.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they learned and if they can battle the big size differential.
Right.
I'm sure they want to press and run Cadillac as much as possible to see if they can get them tired, because the biggest weakness Cadillac has, of course, is the lack of depth.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, just West wasn't able to get into their offense. Cadillac got out to them, really did a nice job in closing out, and with those long arms, and you got the 6'6" and the 6'7" guy that can move pretty well, that it threw West for a loop, and it took them a while to adjust. But yeah, I think they'll be ready tonight.
All right. That is going to do it for us here at the Michigan Army National Guard Hoops and Scoops Outlook. If you visit miarmyguard.com, you can find out so many things that will enhance your future. So, Rich, enjoy your game tonight. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, JJ and I are looking for it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be right back here tomorrow morning.
That's right. You'll be able to stream that game on Up North Sports Radio, both the great audio play-by-play and video. Now, back to CBS Sports.
As early as today. Just text APPLY NOW to 88909 right now to get started. That's APPLY NOW to 88909. Auto financing the easy way. Text APPLY NOW to 88909.
Do you have over 10,000